or these frequencies or these melodies that was healing people. It was like shifting people instantly of whatever that it was, or it was bringing the angels to them, or it was bringing an alignment to them. Science came knocking on my door and wanted to study my vocals to see if they were singing the right tones, if it was really resonating to God. So he analyzed my vocals. This is the analysis. We found all the six pure tonal notes of creation in your vocals and the mathematical equation of creation.
My guest today is Shekina Rose, who had a profound near death experience and came back with an incredible gift. She has an angelic voice that has been studied by science and has been shown to have a very specific ancient frequency that heals people. You guys, this is for real. I have met her in person in Sedona. And it's funny because what she said to me was, she's like, "Oh, I just don't have that great a voice." And when she started singing, she sounded like an angel. And I knew none of this about her voice. I only knew that she had had an NDE. And today we're going to learn a little bit more about this very special gift that she carries and her NDE. So, Shekina, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're so welcome. It's so great to be here and to connect with you and to actually meet you. Thank you so much for coming up to the event, the Heavens event. Thank you.
It was really fun. And we'll talk about it at the end about how you can connect with Shekina. But for those of you who are familiar with the NDE interview, I did a two-part series on Megan Brown. Megan and Shekina have been working together for many, many, many years, and they've been integrating their NDEs together. And they do these special events in Sedona once a month. So I'll let everybody know about that at the end where they can find you guys. But Shekina, you have such an incredible gift that you've brought back. And I feel like every NDEer comes back with something. So before we get into your after effects, why don't you tell us a little bit about what your life was like before you had your near death experience?
For my near death experience, it's interesting that my thought was, I felt that I was spiritual. I was on the path, um, in my evolution. And, I was connecting to the light and, the ascension process. Well, what I thought. And so I was already on that path. Like I say, I thought, that I was spiritual, right? And then and it was interesting because the place that I was living in had all these pictures everywhere of ascended masters and of Mother Mary. I mean, like just everywhere, and Buddhists. So the whole place that I lived in was just filled from top to bottom. Um, my partner, he had traveled and all over the world, and he had collected like all of like Buddhists from all over the world since he was like little, and he was really connected to the ascended master. So these pictures were all over the walls everywhere. And so after I had my near death experience and I came back, I had shifted so much in everything that I had ever believed in or anything that I'd ever connected with, even my my name, even the being that I was. And when I came back from the light, it was very challenging, extremely challenging, and especially to see all of these images all over where I lived because I didn't like it. It was like I went to the source of the light. I went to the purity of God. This is the purity of God essence. This is the best way that I can describe it. I don't feel that I even have words to speak of what I experienced, but it was but it was all encompassing. It was the pure divinity of allness, all encompassing love, all encompassing light. So when I came back and I started seeing all these different images, whoever, of Mother Mary, and different pictures, like 10 pictures of Mother Mary everywhere. For me, it was everything had been tainted. Like all of that, all religion, all faith, had been tainted. And I had experienced the pure essence. And when I got back, I just wanted that. Like I just wanted, I wanted that again, right? I wanted to, I craved it. And so in my physicality, I wanted that. And so that was very challenging for me. And then,
Shekina,
yes,
behind you, is that your actual place that you live?
yes.
Okay, what I noticed as you were saying this about you didn't like all those things, you have painted everything white. Everything is pure white with nothing on the walls.
Oh,
That
um,
has to be by design.
yes. And yes, I guess it's just how I feel and what I need. But I do have a big poster. I don't see if you can see it, but
Oh, I think
a
your head, yeah, I think you're covering it.
it's a
Okay, yeah,
it's a
yeah.
it's a big
Okay.
poster of the Rosary, and it is of Mother Mary.
Oh, how funny.
If you can see that because of my Mother Mary and Rosary experience that I had in Sedona in 2012 when I was
Oh my gosh. Well,
connected
do
to
you
Mother
want to
Mary.
share the near-death experience and tell us in whatever way you want to share it?
Yes, so I also feel that I'll share, what happened to me, and I'm very empathic, and so I'm going to do my best to not get caught up in the the light, because what happens with me is that if I start speaking about it and tuning into it, it's like all of a sudden that I'm there. I can be there in that, and it becomes pretty intense and pretty emotional for me. And so of course I didn't expect this to happen. I didn't know that I was so sick, and that so this day my partner had left to Miami, and I had food poisoning, and I just had no idea how sick I was. And I progressively started getting sicker and sicker and sicker. Now, I also had complications. I was also having some other health complications at the time. So, what happened is this just accelerated my health conditions, and I got so dehydrated and so ill that I eventually just plopped on the bed and was so sick and dehydrated that I just kind of started, I don't know, going to sleep or like just going out of consciousness a bit. And kind of, I was kind of like out of it. And what I noticed as this was happening, and I don't know how long, it was hours, it was hours. So I don't know how long that I was in the light. And when I came back, and there was a point where I felt something happen in the room. I was still conscious enough in my body, but I felt a presence, and I almost felt like it was like a portal that opened up, and also a presence that happened. And it was before me. And when that happened, it was like something took over, and I started to remember. And I wasn't afraid. That presence was telling me that this is natural. This is how it is. And and when that happened, then I started to leave. And I just left. And I didn't go through a tunnel. I just went immediately to the light. And at the light, it's interesting when I'm in at the light, right? Because there were times when I would go back into my body. There were sometimes I would I would come back down just for a bit, and then I would go back up. I would go back up to the light. But when I was in the light, I still had a body. So it was interesting. I had a body here, this physical body, but I also had, it seemed like my own body, how it is now, but not physical up there. I went straight to the light. It was it was familiar. It was normal. It was it was instantaneous, meaning that I was home. I was in all encompassing, all acceptance, pure, divine love. And I am I am back home. I am at the place where I have come from. And it's instantaneous because I'm there. And as I'm at the light, I had much communion with the light. So the light and I are communing. And there's instantaneous things that are happening. And we're speaking and we're talking, but we're not, moving our lips. This is all knowing, like we are just communicating. And things are happening, and I know what's happening, and I know that I'm home, and I know that I'm leaving and this earth. And so I checked in because they didn't tell me things like, okay, you have to go back or anything like this. It was like a divine process that naturally unfolded and happened. And so I naturally started to go through all my relationships, all the people that were close to me, because I knew that I was leaving. And I wanted to make sure that everyone would be okay if I left. And so I was able to go through all my relationships, one after the next. And I was able to see like the future, how they would be in my passing, and they would all be okay. They would all make it. And there wasn't anyone that was extremely depending upon me at the time. And so I was ready to cross over into the light. Now, things are happening as I'm communing with the light. And I was also, it's very interesting. I was at like the edge of the light. Like I was on the line of the light. I was right there. And I knew that if I had taken 1 foot over, because I still had a body, into this light, that that would be it. And I was never coming back. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about kindness and the form of love, of God's love through kindness. And I was shown all the aspects of what this does in this world. The light told me that kindness is God's love in action. And I was seeing how that shifted everything and can shift, and how we bring God and the light here on this planet. Now, as I'm communing with the light, and we communed a lot, I saw different things. I saw heaven. I saw 7 heavens. And it was like a matter of fact when I saw them. And I remember being in the light, and I remember like it was just like I looked over. It was like I was in a place of creation. And I just happened to look over, and when I looked over, there they were. Now, what I saw were 7 heavens, and they were like, to me, it seemed like they were stacked up. Maybe, I don't know, dimensions. And I need to talk to Megan about this because she is a heaven's ambassador, and I didn't go to heaven. I went to the light. But when I was there and I'm communing and I'm experiencing creation, something is happening. The whole time I'm there, something is happening. And as I'm there and as I'm communing with the light, which is amazing and extraordinary and all encompassing and shifts you forever, shifts your being. It shifted my being. I am immersed this whole entire time with this glory, with this music of creation that is extraordinary. And it is a frequency, and that it encompasses everything. And yet it is it's so magnificent that it's just it's shifting me, right? It's shifting me. And it's interesting that I'm familiar with it because I didn't think anything of it as I'm at the light and I'm communing and I'm able to, talk with the light. I'm experiencing this at the same time. And so I was ready, and they told me, they said, it's up to you what you want to do. And it's so extraordinary. You kind of forget, okay, I'm back at home and this is it. This is the real. This is this is the real divine energies. This is who I am. So I'm ready. I'm lifting my leg up. It seemed like slow motion. It must have happened. Of course, there's no time space over there because I did a lot over there. I mean, I went through all my family members, and I went through beyond time and space to make sure that they were okay. We communed, the light and I communed. There was all things that happened, so much that happened there. But I'm ready to take a step to cross over, and something happens to me, and it was that music. It was that music of creation. And that music of creation hit me in my soul, in my heart. And I didn't know about music before. I didn't know about any of this before, but it hit me so deeply within the heart of my soul. I feel like it hit me like here, like the heart of my soul. It just like hit me. And in a half a minuscule second, as I'm stepping to, I think that I'm stepping over, this music hits me in my soul, in every cell of my body, of like something ancient within me. And it it stops everything, and it brings me back. And I say, I don't even know what I'm saying, but I said, I want to sing. I I I want to sing in this holy music. And with that, in an instant, I am plummeting so far. It seemed like such a far, far distance. And I plummet back into my body. And I plummet back into my body. However, I'm not fully conscious, when I got back, because I'm still a little out of it, but it brought me back into my body. And thank goddess, there were some other things that happened that um, my partner, who I've been living with for quite some time, he had a couple of cancellations in Miami. And he never has cancellations with his clients. And then he had cancellations. So he came in and saw me on the bed, I guess looking white. We had talked, actually, we had recently, like a year ago, talked about this, like how he found me. And he saw me laying there, and I couldn't fully speak. I guess I was so dehydrated and I was so out of it. It was so hard to say anything. So I was able to open up my eyes, and he was a doctor of Oriental medicine, and I was actually, he was working with me with some things. So he started just taking my arms and things and started rubbing my arms and rubbing my legs, I guess, to try to get me back. And eventually, slowly, I was able to speak. And things were shifted instantly when I got
Wow.
back.
So when he found you and you came back into your body, did you still have to go through a recovery with the food poisoning, or were you healed from that immediately?
I had to recover.
You did.
Yes. The recovery, it seemed like, had a lot of components to it, a lot of different dimensions to it. Um, I was okay. I was kind of okay. However, I was extremely ultra sensitive and empathic to everything. So for the first 3 months, I couldn't barely leave the room. I had to stay in that room. I mean, even to eat, I would go in there and lock the door. It was, I was oversensitive to stimuli, to everything, and I could feel everything. And and then I didn't relate. I wasn't relating to everything that I had related to before. I didn't relate to the spirituality that I had before. I didn't relate to those pictures on the wall anymore. I didn't relate I didn't really even relate to my name. I didn't
Wow.
sort of relate to the being that I was prior, but I knew about the being that I was in that time. And I went through an intense, immense purification. For those 3 months, it was like a natural thing that happened. It was probably, now looking at it, I guess I understand a little bit better, but it was challenging. And I did have food issues. I did have digestion issues. Um, it was like the food that I was eating was like air. I was so skinny and so thin, and I could not gain weight. And I was eating enormous amounts of food. And it was like I just was like it was air. I was using it for energy. And the whole time I was cleansing and purifying this being, okay? This being's energy, past, everything that I had been, everything in my family, uh, generational. It just seemed like I was on this cleansing journey, purification that was extremely intense. I was spending 10 hours a day in constant meditation, in constant clearing of this being because it was just so intense. Um,
Do you think we all have that? Like we have, if for people who haven't been on the other side, like all of our accumulation by the time we're at a certain age, do you think it's like if we were to clear everything for everybody, it's hours and hours like what you had to do to clear everything, like the accumulation?
I think it, yes, that's a
What's
good,
interesting, I've never
yes.
thought about that. I've never heard anybody talk about anything like this before, but it's making me think that no wonder it's not so easy for a lot of people to just get over things because here I'm listening to you. You've had this experience, you come back, and it's like weeks and weeks of you spending 10 hours a day in a meditative state, clearing in order to purify, like you said, your body.
Yes, and I mean, this doesn't happen to, all the beings that have an NDE, but I
No,
feel
I've
that
never actually heard of anybody really doing that before.
I think it's a part of what you're here to do when you
Mm,
come back. And what I was here to do was to sing in this holy music, this frequency that was very activational,
mhm.
empowering, that you could remember again. Your cells remembered, your soul remembered. And so that was my journey of it. And also it was interesting. I mean, at the time, it was so much for me that I did seek help. Like there was an NDE experience group in Pompano Beach, and I had to go a couple times because it was just such a drastic experience for me. And I remember that when the first time that I went there, I was the name that I was given, this birth name, and then the next time that I went back, I was a different name. I was Shekina
Wow.
because I couldn't even connect to that name anymore. Like it just I didn't feel the vibration of it anymore. And but I was given. I knew that I was going to be given another name. I knew that I was going to be given two names because I was so in communion with the light at that time. It was really strong. And so as soon as they gave me the name, as soon as she kind of gave me the name, Shekina, I knew it. I was like, thank you. And then I was waiting for my other name. I had to go through more purification. Um, and what was also interesting is, eventually I was able to come out of my room. And again, I feel that we all have different paths. And I'm a healer. I'm a sound healer, but I'm a healer. So I say healer, it's kind of big in general. But I work with people, and I have been working with people, personally ever since for the last 18 years. So
Wow.
it's also helpful for me as a healer to work with another, individual, another being, to have gone through such an intense purification that I did. It gave me a lot of knowledge and information and understanding and template of clearing.
It
And
makes a lot of sense.
when I got back, what was interesting, it's not always just the experience itself, the NDE. It's like what happens when you come back
The integration part.
is unbelievable, and all the synchronicities that happen to help you to be here and who you are. And I was I was I was found by science. Well, I because I'd started singing. I did start singing, and I did start doing all of these tonings. Um, Immediately, and I was connected to that.
Well,
So,
before we go into the singing part, can I ask you some questions about the NDE part of it?
yes,
Okay. The first thing I want to ask is that it's not, you're reminding me of that movie Lucy. Have you ever seen that movie where she ingests a drug and it allows her to access more and more higher percentage of her brain? And at some point in the movie where she's like at, I don't know, 50 or 60%, she can start to feel things around her. She can see like the growth of the trees. And you said something that made me reminded of that scene. And that was that you said when you came back, you felt everything, but you didn't elaborate on that. Can you give us an idea of things that you felt that you had not previously, as who you were before, felt?
every vibration was a little bit louder. So things had not bothered me before that I wasn't even aware of. Now I'm aware of in my own body. So other people's energy. Um, Feelings, emotions of other people. Um, Vibration of products.
Like what do you mean
Like
vibration? Like things that are just in
everything
your house?
everything has frequency and vibration. I mean, we kind of know that. We kind of know that, right?
Right.
We've been told that, and we think it's like, yeah, everything's at frequency and vibration. And but until we see it, right? Until we see, an aura photo, or until we see Dr. Emoto's work of
Yeah, and the
the
water.
water, and how, and when
Yeah.
you say things to water, it responds. And that's all real and true. So products, so if I'm in a store and there's all of these products, all of these products have energy and vibration, and they're all together. So it can be very overwhelming. Um, Big stores over used to be extremely, I couldn't even go in those stores. And a lot of those things, a lot of the stuff is toxic. There's so much toxicity, and like a huge store of all the stuff that is the vibration and everything that admitting. Um, I mean, I can feel the energy of the highway, um, driving, the people, driving in cars. So everything was so amplified that it was just really challenging. Now, eventually, it took time, and it took time of me being by myself. Like
Mm.
I couldn't be with a lot of like energies. I had to just be in my own energy and kind of get used to being in the body again, being in life again, and it got better. It got a lot better. I am still ultra sensitive and empathic, and can experience that tree sometimes.
What does a tree feel like to you?
I've had amazing experience with the trees.
I love trees.
One time I was it was some years ago, and I was a little upset, and there was this tree that I was very connected, this tree was very close, and I think I put the bird seed out on that tree. So I was out on that tree a lot. I would touch that tree. I didn't know I was touching it. And one day I got some kind of bad news. And so I'm sitting there with the bad news, and all of a sudden this tree comes out at me empathically and completely is like just healing me and sharing with me. And I loved it. It was so extraordinary, and because it knew that I had shifted, that I normally was never like that. Like I was always in a particular vibration, and I completely felt it. Um, yes, the tree
Do you
tree
think
that
the trees are doing that to all of us all the time and we're just not even aware of it?
yes, I mean the trees are have souls. They have spirit. Um, they're empathic. They feel absolutely, and everything does. More things more than others, than a brick. I mean, a tree, the plants, the crystals, the rocks, the flowers, the water, and we're
Well,
becoming.
tell me about the water a minute because I feel like water that we're exposed to on a daily basis has been treated. And I remember watching a special on, I think it might have been Prime TV last year about water. And they talked about even it going through the pipes and having to bend and unnaturally move because water is usually moving. It's moving and it has a vortex to it. And if you can add a vortex to it before you drink it, it changes the frequency of it somehow. But what have you learned about water?
Well, it's interesting that water has more recently become stronger in our residency field. So more people are talking about water and experiencing water. Like we're becoming more. It's a kind of a harmonic convergence that's kind of happening, that we're becoming more sensitive, and also the water is almost becoming like more aware, and people are becoming more aware of water, and water is like speaking more frequently to people. So I've been experiencing. I just put my latest video was on the water, because the water was communicating and sharing, and so a transmission came in from the water, and so I put that water transmission out on my YouTube channel, and also what the water was saying. And so water is speaking more. And So what I do, so I was told, I don't know if it needs to be in a vortex. I haven't gotten that it's supposed to be like in a vortex. But what I was told about the water uh, was to, yes, that we're becoming more vibrationally sensitive and that the water is becoming more vibrationally sensitive to us. And we are all water. We have so much water, right? And we're a water planet. And what I got, what they told me to do was to sing to the water. So because it'll have that vibration in there. So I sing to the because I sing from the frequencies. I purify my water in the morning and then I sing to the water so that I get that in the cells of my body. And then if I've got the plants, then I sing to the water and then I water all the plants with the water and the trees. Even if I give it a little bit of water, I'll just give a little bit of water to the trees so that they can have, that vibration and so that the earth can have that vibration. So I feel that we can do a lot with water, and that's we're coming more online with what's happening with our own waters and what we can do with our own waters because everything is vibration and frequency.
Wow.
And
I'm glad I asked you that question. That's amazing.
there's a lot you can do. Yeah, in the morning I take my water and I purify my water. So I tune in to my water and I purify it and I see the water and I see like white light purification like running through my water. I purify the water first and then I feel it because I'm very sensitive, so I could instantly feel vibration immediately and empathically. So I can all of a sudden I can hear spirit and feel spirit, and then I sing to the water and for my radiant health.
Wow.
And but I also bless the water to the sacred living waters of life, that to restore the water to the sacred living waters of life for all
Wow.
life.
I love that
Yes.
you shared that because one of the reasons I have these conversations is so that we can take the wisdom that you have accumulated through these experiences and share it with people who are watching so that they can implement some of these things into their lives to improve their lives, make their lives somehow better
In the whole world
in the
because we're
whole world.
because the whole wherever that you are, because I know that and that when I take the water and I bless the water and then I go out and I water the plants and then I go and to all the trees, that's going into the trees, right? That's
And it's
going
going
into
into the
it's
collective
going into the
then.
earth. Yes, it's going out there. So wherever that you're at, and also whatever waterways that you have, wherever the water is, when the water coming out from the shower, you're blessing the water out and through you, out to the shower and out to the earth, blessing the water as it's cleansing and purifying you. I mean, there's a lot we can do, but it's like who we are is pretty extraordinary. I think we have more divinity and more power than we know because,
Mm.
we kind of,
I think you're right because I think it's been trying to be repressed for a long time. So you talked about the seven heavens. I've heard this concept. Sometimes I hear dimensions of nine, sometimes I hear dimensions of 12, but seven is, I know, a very sacred number for the heavens. What do you think that those were? Because you made a comment, you said Megan, who we interviewed, had the, experience of heaven, and you didn't go to heaven, you went directly to the light. So do you think those heavenly realms are a dimension that we visit and then ultimately we go home, which is the light?
I think Megan has a different feeling about this. Yes, I can see that, but yes and no, because it's depending. I feel that so those seven heavens, so we all don't go to the same heaven.
We do
It's
not all go to the same heaven. We do not.
I don't believe that.
So each one is a different vibration. So aligned with your vibration is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. No, that makes
Yes.
sense. Of
Yes.
course.
So you're gonna go to where your vibration is because we're continuously evolving upon this planet and the soul. So
Right.
it's this is all one vibration of heaven, and this is one vibration of heaven, and it has to it it's going to be in alignment. It's going to be good for you. It's going to be all encompassing love and so beautiful for you. So it's going to be right for you. It's going to be perfect for you. So you're going to go into that perfect divine place for you. And yes, there is there are other planets. There's the light. So there is greater, aspects. But here on the earth plane, we kind of just know about mostly heaven. That's what we know about. But however, now that we're so many beings are going to the other side and back, we're getting a lot of more information about who we are and where we come from. I feel we're getting so empowered and who we are. Because most of it is always good, it's always divine, it's always empowering. I mean, it's always acceptance when we go over there. It's all love, where we come from. So that's what I've experienced.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. All right, I want to hear about the voice that you brought back and how you're using it to heal and what it is. I know you said it was studied by science.
So interesting is that I hadn't sang before. I didn't know anything about music. And really was not into singing or into music. I mean, I would not sing. I never went to a karaoke. I mean, ever in my life. Before that, I mean, still haven't. But I just that's something that I just didn't do. And I didn't understand, and that's something I didn't do. So when I came back and I got attuned to the music of creation, the allness of where there is everything is perfect. So and the music of creation, it was different though. It was like I was toning and I was singing in a different way though. I didn't feel that I was actually singing. I still don't feel that I'm singing because I don't feel that I'm singing a song, even though you can go on my YouTube channel and you can hear music. Um, it's not perfect. I don't like how this music is. So I came back and I did start singing and I did start toning a lot of these tones. I had a friend who wanted me, and then of course I had a friend who wanted me to go to her event and she wanted me to bring that forth. So I did. So it kind of helped me to start bringing that like out and forward. And then because of that, I got videotaped of my vocals and my singing. And but what I saw was happening is this music or this frequencies or these melodies that was healing people. It was like shifting people instantly of whatever that it was, or it was bringing the angels to them, or it was bringing an alignment to them. And so what happened is it was pretty shortly afterwards is science came knocking on my door and wanted to study my vocals and they wanted to analyze my vocals. And at the time, this scientist was studying all these different mantras and vocals of different religions and faiths and to get their frequency and to see if they were singing the right tones, if it was really resonating to God. And at the time, I had recently gotten back from the light. So I knew what it was about. I knew I got back from the light. So I said, fine, okay. So because I already knew it, I don't know, it didn't really matter what he had to say, but since he was coming to me, I'm like, okay. So he analyzed my vocals and he came back to me and he said, this is the analysis. And we found all the six pure tonal notes of creation in your vocals and the mathematical equation of creation. Mark Rodden was a scientist at that time. He's still at the time, his math has gone incredible. And he apparently had come up with the mathematical equation of creation. So he's telling me all of this, and he's just giving me this huge analysis of all of these frequencies. I'm singing in the 528 hertz miracle and transformation. I'm singing in all the frequencies, all these amazing frequencies, these ancient frequencies that the musical scale used to be. We have a different musical scale now in these last decades, or longer than last decades. It was changed in the 1600s. When he told me this, when he said that I was singing in this, I didn't know what he was talking about. I never heard of the ancient solfeggio scale. So I asked him, I said, well, is that okay? Is is that good? And he said, that's really good. All he said is like, just keep doing what you're doing and go to these sites and learn about what this is. So I did. I went, and now I know what the ancient solfeggio scale is that it was a musical scale that was more tonal and it connected you to God. And it had been changed in the 1600s. Apparently, they're not for sure. It's by one of these popes, by the church, because the mass, the Catholic mass, was sang in Latin in those times, and it was beautiful because it connected you to God and creation, and it gave you solutions to problems, and it opened up your mind, and it helps you to release like fear and guilt and trauma. It helped you to let go. So Mozart, Beethoven, they all were in that sacred musical scale, and then it was taken away. It was shifted. So everything nowadays, or has been since like the 1600s, has shifted, like all of our musical instruments in this, and our music, everything. So, but here I am, I'm singing in this ancient musical scale that I've never known about. Um, and it almost felt like after it all happened, I'm like, oh, okay. Um, Thank you. Thank you for that. Maybe that will help. Maybe that will help in what I'm bringing forth for people to kind of understand that, okay, there's some science here, and there are certain frequencies that do this and they resonate to this. And we used to actually sing to this musical scale that was more in attunement and alignment with our own divine vibration with the divine.
Wow. I'm so glad that now I really get it. I understand. And I know you haven't done a whole lot of videos where you've talked about your NDE. So I feel so grateful to be able to have met you in person and to have this conversation. And I am guessing that everybody listening right now is like, where can I find her? How can I work with her? So, with your voice, do you have to be in person with you to really receive it? Or can you receive it through the frequency of something like this, where, you would sing into your microphone and transmit it through the wires and the Zoom and the technology?
So my service is to bring these transmissions forth in various ways. And so I have a YouTube channel, and so I have consistently been bringing forth the frequencies. And so everything that you will hear on my YouTube channel, and so I will say, please go to my YouTube channel and just see which ones that you like, because a lot of people over the years have been using that music in this way
Wow.
to be on the path to heal and to feel what resonates. So, and they're all transmissions, so meaning that, so because modern day music now, see, I've understand a little bit. I've had some people from the music industry kind of come and help me a little bit, but just a little. I'm not all there with that. I still do my own thing. um but everything, because I have a Spotify channel too, because they helped me to get a Spotify channel. But everything that you hear, I sing at one time. I'm not, so music is like you sing a song over 30 times and you get it perfect right. and then
Yes,
they
yes.
record it, right?
Yeah.
And then they put it out. That's not what I do. No, I sing from the transmissions of the divine at that time. So everything that you hear on those YouTubes and on my Spotify channel, yes, I sing it as a transmission. They'll put the music behind me afterwards. Sometimes I could sing with some music. So yes, it transmits through the through the YouTube, through the speakers. When and I work with personal clients one on one. So we're working on the phone, and I'm bringing that forth, on the phone. So
Wow.
it can be in person. I probably will be doing more in person, and but it can be on the phone. It could be through the recordings. It could be through various ways of music, of streaming. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Oh, I love this. Well, how else can people work with you then? So you have your YouTube channel. Is it Shekina Rose for the YouTube?
I think it's Shekina's Light.
I'll put that in the show
Okay.
notes for everybody. Where else can they find you?
On my website. So shikinarose.com, and go to my store there, and I have sessions, and so appointments, so sacred appointments that you can have. And they're specific. This one does this and that one does this. And I'm going to be, I haven't been doing a lot of in-person things over the years. And so, but more recently, the crystals are singing to me again, the white like crystals of Sedona. And they're literally from the Crystal City of Lights. They're
I want to connect with you on that. I'm gonna make another trip out to
for
Sedona and
sure,
connect
yeah.
with you. And actually, you know what I'd really love to do? I would love to do another show where it's you and Megan and me just having a collective, collaborative consciousness conversation where we talk about maybe some of these crystals. I would love to have a longer conversation. I wish I had more time today with you, but this is definitely an area I want to come back to. So, Shakina, you also have a group that meets in Sedona once a month. Where can people work with you there?
It's the Heavens on Earth group that Megan and I have, because both of us had near-death experiences. And so Megan and I have had a near-death experience, just her and I, for many years. But what we've done is like you've said, we've combined our near-death experiences of the light in heaven, and we bring that together, of connecting you to heaven, giving you the messages from heaven, and giving you the frequencies and the transmissions. And a lot of times it's from your own spirit. What I was bringing forth that time was personally for each one of you.
Wow.
That was bringing that forth. So we have that once a month, and we have it at Celio Connections here in West Sedona. So Celio Connections, just look at that. It's the second Saturday of the month from two, from no, from 12 to 2. And it is just a beautiful group of what, we've come together. And so we're sharing that from the other side, connecting you.
Amazing. And I personally vouch that it is worth your time if you are in the area and you can make it to one of these. It was so beautiful and so, so grateful that I got a chance to hear you sing in person. So, Shakina, I want to thank you so much for your Yes, I agree. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Next up, check out this playlist of other NDE interviews. Please like and subscribe. It really helps this channel to grow so I can bring you more content. Thank you for watching. I'm so glad you're here.